Thank you, Chair Waters. Appreciate you calling this hearing. Appreciate the opportunity to hear from this excellent panel. Thanks for your fortitude in sitting still this long. We appreciate your expertise. I'd like to start by talking a little bit about the robust efforts in Little Rock to combat homelessness. It's very well coordinated, and it has a robust engagement with both the city and federal resources and our nonprofits. And today, really in the 2 terms I've served in Congress, I found it very rewarding to see their work where they have an active casework in our office. We go and find veterans where they are. We've solved so many veteran challenges in our homeless shelters. It's been a really rewarding work in our office. I've got 4 veterans on my constituent team. 3 of them are combat veterans, and they spend time in our shelters really helping our vets. They deserve that extra touch, and many of them are really lost in the morass of not only homelessness, but also the veteran programs that they might be eligible for. So I thank my staff for that work. And we've been a vigorous advocate for funding. Just in the last 4 years, we've gotten $4 million in grant funding for our homeless nonprofits in Little Rock, and they are using that money very wisely. And I've been so impressed by, from just really taking care of that emergency transient housing, the person who loses their lease, that family in crisis, that more troubling chronic alcohol and drug addicted population, and then those who are really working their way back to self-sufficiency. All that group works really well together, and that's why I invited Ben Carson to Little Rock to see this work on the ground and see what's happening. And he was really inspired by that work. And we have one of our nonprofits, Our House, which Dr. Carson really encouraged you that they would be a terrific person to lead the Envision Centers for in our public housing. That's an initiative of HUD. And so I hope to see that move forward. But in all the aspects of it, whether it's the Dorcas House, Union Rescue Mission, St. Francis House, Jericho Way, Salvation Army, Gaines, Lucy's Place, Women and Children First, all these, I've been impressed as a former business person to see how well they work together, looking for that gap and filling it to help all those suffering from this homelessness. A couple of questions I've got. One, we've heard Mr. Lawson mention it, my friend from Wisconsin mentioned this issue of definitions. We have all these definitions that are different on homelessness, and it's allowed, I think, the federal government to make claims to ending homelessness, which I don't agree with. We had a celebration where the mayor of Little Rock went out to an event this fall, ending veterans' homelessness, and I'm going, man, I can take you and introduce you to some right now that are homeless. So how do we get HUD and the VA on the same page about the definition of who's homeless? Anybody want to talk about that? Miss Olivia, you worked at HUD, so we have these multiple definitions of homelessness. Is living in a hotel homeless?
That depends.
Well, it really doesn't. You know, if they're in a hotel for longer than a month, are they homeless?
So I would say that there's a need, because of the resources that are available, to prioritize folks that are most vulnerable first for the housing resources that are available. So I don't think that HUD and the VA were not on the same page around, and Mr. Stewart might be able to address this based on something more recent, but our work with the VA, our collaborative work with the VA and USICH around veteran homelessness in particular, was some of the best work that we did inside of the federal government, as far as I'm concerned, because we were on the same page. We ensured that we were prioritizing chronically homeless veterans for the HUD-VASH program, for example. Yeah. And until no veteran was on the street, then we could start working down the list. And homelessness prevention is a part of those programs that could work with folks who are in hotels.
And they do great work in that. Ms. Roman, talk to me about for the vouchers that we have in Section 8, how do we make sure that they really are clean and safe places, that our public housing authorities are really putting those vouchers out where they should be?
Well, I'm not an expert on Section 8, but my understanding is that they do inspections on Section 8 units, and, you know, they're supposed to be clean and safe. I think in the homeless arena, you know, we don't always have those kinds of inspections, and you do have to be concerned about the quality. But
Thank you very
The
much.
gentleman's time has expired.